Alright, so Daredevil Born Again Season 2 Episode 4 titled Gloves Off is now streaming on the Disney Plus platform, and I gotta say, this was the best episode yet. So with that being said, guys, let's dive into this episode review. We're gonna do the recap, we're gonna go event by event, let's talk about it. Let's go. Now, first things first, we have to talk about that Bullseye introduction. What an amazing scene out of Poindexter there, where he's walking out of his apartment that he seems to be kind of hiding out at. He greets the old lady, he greets the cat. You're like, okay, hold on. Maybe he's not that much of a villain after all. You know, he walks down to the nearest diner. I love diners, so it was cool to get to see that scene there, and that this character does enjoy that also. And he does a call in on Frank Castle, says, hey, he's at this location, he's at this diner, the Punisher is here, come quick. And he just sits there, enjoys his milkshake, until the anti-vigilante task force, the AVTF, shows up at that location. They tell him get his hands up. They recognize that it's Bullseye. Frank Castle is not here in this location, and all hell breaks loose. He absolutely slaughters any and every single one of these AVTF members. It was a glorious scene, one of the best scenes in the series so far. We did get a little clip of this in the mid-season trailer that we covered on the channel a couple days ago. You guys seem to really like that video, so I appreciate that. And yeah, it was just a brilliant scene, a great showcase of Bullseye's powers, how it works. He leaves the symbol on the door, you know, the target, and then he walks out. What an introduction into what is the best episode of this season so far. Now, moving on, we pick back up with the swordsman. He's talking to the Daredevil. Of course, he's been released from Fisk's prison, his cell, and he's like, hey, I've been locked up in 6 months in the same clothes. I'm gonna go home and shower, and I'm gonna relax. Y'all can do the vigilante stuff. I'm done with this, okay? But by the way, Daredevil, you are a shining light in this city. You are now a symbol of the people, so make sure, you know, you understand your power and your place in this world. And Daredevil says, okay, it's nice to see you. You know, go ahead and enjoy your time off. And then we transition over into the White Tiger's niece, Angela Del Toro's, I believe what they're calling her. She has the pendant. She is now sort of picking up the mantle, and she happens to be going out on a mission for Karen Page and for Matt Murdock. She's planning on delivering this SD card to the reporter Kirsten, who's been doing the exposed videos on Fisk, which we got to find that out in the last episode. We see that Matt Murdock now has an AVTF uniform at his disposal, and that's pretty much where that scene ends there. We also get a nice scene of Daredevil telling Karen Page that he loves her, and you know, she says it back to him, so that was a sweet moment there between our two beloved characters. And now we move into our next scene where the AVTF raids Matt Murdock's former lawyer firm, and they're asking about Matt Murdock. They're saying, hey, tell Matt Murdock we say hi, because we pretty much have an idea that you guys know where he is. They're asking where their client is. Pretty much the swordsman was being represented by Matt Murdock's lawyer firm, or his former lawyer firm. Not sure how that situation is currently going with him pretty much being on the run now. And yeah, they went in there, no warrant. Right? They're breaking every law. They're breaking all the Constitution amendments. They aren't following the rules because they work for the Kingpin. And that's pretty much where that scene ends there. Now we pick back up with Wilson Fisk. He's talking to his trusted bodyguard about everything that's gone wrong. He's talking to a current business partner that he has, where they're doing deals under the table, illegal deals. This business partner tries to strong arm the Kingpin, a terrible idea. He pretty much has him dead to rights. He has two guys pull up with assault rifles. He has his own bodyguards. Kingpin just has the one man, but we know that one man happens to be a specialist. So the moment they let their guard down, pew pew, he takes out both of his bodyguards. A great scene there. Kingpin luckily does not shoot this guy, right, for the betrayal that he just tried to commit. He tells them, I recommend you practice patience. Don't try this again, okay? A fantastic scene there. And we move over into Vanessa, Kingpin's lover, of course. She happens to be meeting with the governor behind Kingpin's back. Now, Kingpin is planning to have this boxing match. He says, I don't want you there. I don't need you at this boxing match, because it is essentially a trap for these vigilantes to come and try to get him, since he's going to be at such a public event for this boxing match. So Vanessa goes behind his back, goes to the governor, McCaffrey, the governor's name is, and pretty much gets an understanding with McCaffrey to end up backing the Wilson Fisk family, Mr. and Mrs. Fisk. She doesn't like the way Wilson Fisk operates and wields his power, but she's, you know, a little less reluctant with the insurance policy of Vanessa being there to keep him in control. Now we pick back up with Matt Murdock going to visit the the diner that Bullseye shot up. He's investigating the place in AVTF gear. This is why that gear was important earlier in the episode. He's walking around as one of their members, so he can pretty much do anything he needs to do in broad daylight. He's investigating the crime scene, gets the, the rinky-dink normal cops out of the way. He says, I'll have my boys show up here, the AVTF, if y'all don't get out of here, okay? So they get out of there. They let Matt Murdock do his thing as an AVTF, supposed member. He's investigating the place. He realizes that it's Bullseye that pretty much did this for the most part. He picks up a coin. He notices that this coin is from a church that he used to attend. So Matt Murdock goes, okay, let me go see about this at this former church I used to attend. Of course, his faith is a very big part of this character. So when he goes to the church, he talks to the pastor there. He says, listen, this is a very dangerous man. I'm not going to kill this man, but if I don't find him, more people are going to die. I need to know where he is. The pastor gives him the information. Yeah, he says he overlooks the church every single day. So Matt Murdock goes, okay. He uses his supersonic hearing and he picks up on Poindexter's voice at a nearby location at that hidden apartment that he's been staying at. And Matt Murdock pulls right up, okay? Daredevil's not playing any games. He gets rid of the AVTF outfit, puts on the Daredevil gear, and this man is not playing any games. He pulls up on Bullseye, kicks in his door, immediately starts fading this dude, okay? Immediately on smoke. He drop kicks him. They're going back and forth. They're having an insane fight. Matt Murdock is getting the better of him. And at one point, he's just beating the hell out of this dude, okay? They have to come in and say, hey, stop. The neighbor, the old lady nearby has to come in and say, please stop beating up my neighbor, because Matt Murdock's beating the shit out of this dude. It was a great scene there. He's just letting loose because, of course, he killed his best friend Foggy. Bullseye trying to tell him, hey, I'm trying to do a good deed now. I want to take out Mr. and Mrs. Fisk. I want to kind of work with you now. I'm one of the good guys now. You could trust me. Matt Murdock's not going for any of that. Eventually, he ends up getting loose. He runs off. Daredevil loses sight of Bullseye, and that scene pretty much ends there. Now we go to the Fogwell's gym. This is the gym that Matt Murdock's dad used to train at. Matt Murdock's dad used to be a boxer. That's a very big part of the Daredevil mythos. So of course, Fisk, in trolling fashion, is choosing to hold his boxing match here at Matt Murdock's dad's former gym. So they open the gym up. They're putting the things together, getting everything in place, making sure the security is up to par. And during this scene, we have a line of people waiting to get into the place. We have a character related to Angela Del Toro's character, the White Tiger's niece's character, going to deliver that SD card to Kirsten as she is in line to see this boxing match take place. So we'll see what they do with that information in the very next episode. We don't have that conclusion here just yet. And then we move over into this boxing match. Okay, we have Wilson Fisk in the back. He's in the locker room. He's preparing for the fight, getting his hands wrapped. He says, yeah, this dude's not going to lay a glove on me. You don't got to worry about that. I'm the Kingpin, okay? This is a rigged fight. What do you think we're doing here? I'm not going out here for a real boxing match. Of course not. We have an important scene in the locker room where Wilson Fisk's best bodyguard, I think his name is Buck. I think that's what they're referring to him as. He's like kind of the British dude, right? Anyway, the bodyguard's not going to be there. He has to go handle some other matters. That other matter being the person that was being interviewed on this SD card that was transported to Kirsten, the reporter, was pretty much snitching on Wilson Fisk. He was a survivor from all of these boats sinking and blowing up, things like that. And of course, this bodyguard goes and cleans up that loose end. They shoot him, and that's pretty much where that scene ends. You don't see what happens after the gunshot goes off. And so that's where Wilson Fisk's bodyguard happens to be at the time during this fight. He's like, hey, listen, we have the AVTF here. I got my task force, my special members here. I'm gonna be safe. You can go handle what you need to handle. Big mistake, and we'll talk about why very, very soon. Now we go into the boxing match. They announce Wilson Fisk, 325 pounds. Oh my god, this guy is an absolute behemoth. You don't want to get in a boxing ring with the Kingpin, okay? He's beating the hell out of this dude. We know it's a rigged fight. He's beating the shit out of this dude though, okay? He's bleeding everywhere. It's an absolute nightmare for this guy in the ring. And then Vanessa walks in. She wasn't supposed to be at this event. Remember that. Vanessa walks in. Kingpin's like thinking like, oh no, what are you doing here? He gets distracted during the fight. The dude's been getting brutalized, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna fight back. He lands a real punch on Wilson Fisk. This sets him off. Wilson Fisk lands the haymaker, the final blow, teeth flying out everywhere, absolutely brutalizes this guy, ends the fight. Vanessa comes in the ring. He's like, what are you doing here? I told you not to be here. She's like, of course I'm going to be here. It's your big day. You just won, a championship belt. And that is when the Bullseye walks into this place and starts wreaking havoc. He's killing the AVTF members left and right. He seems to have a real problem with this task force. He's been murdering them the entire season. He absolutely does not care about this task force and their health and their well-being. He's taking them out left and right, knives in his head, another knife in his head, and that's when he hears the Kingpin shouting, "Save Vanessa, get Vanessa out." The AVTF trying to grab Vanessa. She's not supposed to be here in the first place because it is a trap for these vigilantes and for Bullseye to try and get him. That was the point of the boxing match. So Vanessa's on her way out, at least she's supposed to be, and Bullseye takes notice of this. He throws the kill blow. It's like some Kingpin merch, right? Some little glass ornament. He throws it at Vanessa. He has deadly precision there. And the moment he throws it, Vanessa pulls the gun, bow, shoots the Bullseye. Remember, she was ready for this. She's been imagining this scenario in her dreams and in her head from the very start of this season. They've been kind of building up and leading up to this moment, this face-off between Vanessa and Bullseye, because she did kind of set him up in the first season of this series. Her bullet hits Bullseye like right in the chest or right in the stomach, right below the heart, right? And then we see the glass ornament flying. Wilson Fisk isn't going to let anything happen to his baby girl, right? He's not going to let anything happen to her. He hits the ornament with his championship belt. A very dope scene there. He saves his Vanessa, and then the Daredevil shows up. All right, Daredevil shows up. Now we got Matt Murdock whooping ass. He's fighting off the Bullseye, this terrorist, right? He's fighting him off. He pretty much tackles him, sends him flying out of the arena because he doesn't want Bullseye to die necessarily, but at the same time he needs to stop him from absolutely destroying everyone there. So he takes out the Bullseye, and then we get the final scene where we see Bullseye run off. Daredevil goes chasing after him. We go back in the boxing ring. Fisk is like, "Vanessa, you okay? Everything went well." She says, "Wilson," and she has this smile, and she's wearing all white, looking like an angel, and she turns her head, and what we see lodged into the side of her skull, a piece of glass, a giant piece of the glass from this ornament lodged in Vanessa's skull. An insane scene, a fantastic ending. Again, I kind of had a feeling they were going to kill Vanessa. They've been building it up through her dream sequences, and she's been just thinking about Bullseye a little too much, knowing that she's going to encounter the Poindexter once again. And oh my god, the way the blood starts just pulling on the white dress, it was poetic, it was artistic. It reminded me of the recent film that just released, A24's The Drama. Go check out my review for that. But the director in that film did something very similar in a couple of scenes to what we got to see take place in this scene, with Vanessa just absolutely bleeding out on the canvas in the boxing ring, falls, and Fisk lets out the most blood-curdling scream and kind of more of like a roar in anger at the same time. And it was just a phenomenal ending to a phenomenal episode, a brilliant episode 4 titled The Gloves Off. If I had to rate this episode, guys, I would give this episode a 10 out of 10. It gets the 10 out of 10, a masterclass episode here, and I believe on IMDb it is rated the highest rated episode so far for any Daredevil episode or any Marvel TV series episode in general. So that's a crazy statistic right there. They give it a 9.6. I'm giving it the 10 out of 10. This is a masterclass. This is perfection on display here. I'm so excited that we're back to peak Marvel, and I feel really bad for Wilson Fisk. You know, I did like the Vanessa character. She's pretty much been a part of the show since the original season 1 of Daredevil. So, you know, 5 seasons in, she ends up dying. It's sad to see her go. And yeah, Wilson Fisk in the future, we can expect him to absolutely destroy any vigilante, anyone. You know, once he gets his hand on Bullseye, it's over for Bullseye. We can kiss Poindexter goodbye, which, by the way, that was Wilson Fisk's like top agent in like season 3 of Daredevil, if you remember back in the day. So to see what's transpired between these characters and what just happened in the finale of this episode was absolutely insane. I had a great time watching this. The whole time I'm watching Vanessa bleed out, I'm holding my head, I'm screaming no at the TV. I'm like, there's no way they just did this. But at the same time, I had a feeling in my gut that they were going to do this. So it's sad to see Vanessa go, man. That was the episode 4 titled Gloves Off of season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this episode down in the comment section down below. If you don't know what we do here on Demigod AT, we do film, TV, and pop culture based content. So if you're interested in any of this type of content, in the right place, hit subscribe. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.